All right, hey traders, this is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and this is your recap for Tuesday, December 18th. Only a week till Christmas, and I've got more shopping to do. But yeah, it's already the 18th, so only a few more days of, till Christmas. This week, we still have a lot of events to go for the week. We got the big Fed meeting tomorrow. We've got quadruple witching on Friday. Should be some very heavy volume on Friday. And then we don't know if there's going to be a government shutdown as well. I feel like there's one other event too, but so pretty lackluster price action. I don't know why it says SPY's only down 10 basis points. If you look at S&P futures, they're down 86 basis points. Keep in mind also that all the spider ETFs go X, so that you'll see a funky print or funky move pre-market because they pay out their dividend, or they go ex dividends on Friday. But yeah, we did close lower than where we were yesterday. So again, just the case of the same story, right? So until this trend reverses, and I don't ask me when it does. But we are continuing, and I feel like it's been going on for 2 weeks now, where every little bounce is faded. When's the last time that we've closed on the highs of the day? I don't think we could really come up with that quickly, but I don't know. When's the last time that we've closed on the highs? The closest to is back here, was 1210. So we're looking at a little bit over a week in terms of days. But just, man, some really, I would say, nasty price action all the way back from 12. So basically for the whole month. So for the whole month, it's been nasty. IWM, I was watching this towards the end of the day because we did take out this virgin point of control, but a lot of, I will always look at the sectors that are bringing it down, but a lot of pain in this IWM. It actually did take yesterday's lows out here in the aftermarket here, so that's not a good sign. So. If you're looking for the Fed to save you tomorrow, I don't know. I'm not in that camp that the Fed is going to come out with good news. I stick to the trend. Every time Powell speaks at one of these conferences, we get a shakeout. So if this is what's happened. I can tell you what's happened historically. I do not have a crystal ball, so I can't tell you what is going to happen, and I don't really have a strong sense that this market is going to go higher on a Powell speech when every time he's spoken after the FOMC meeting, the market has hated it. And we get a fake out move, usually after the announcement. The market starts to rally until the press conference, and then it loses it all. So that's been the pattern, and we'll see if that continues tomorrow. I don't really want to take the other side of that. If we happen to go higher, that's great, but I'm not going to load, for me personally, I'm not going to load the boat thinking that he's going to come out and say something completely opposite of what he normally does. That's not where I like to live. I like to go with the pattern. And the pattern says that the market sells off after he speaks. So I hope that's not right. Maybe there's something that changes tomorrow. Maybe he comes out and is more dovish. But I don't know. I think there's about a 65% chance that they're going to raise rates for tomorrow. I'm in the camp that they raise. My opinion is that they raise rates tomorrow, and maybe they say that maybe they're a little bit dovish. But I don't know. Is that really going to get the market to move? I'm not sure about that. So Q's also finished. You could see them come back to the lows. We had this late bounce. I'm not going to really go into reasoning like CNBC tries to gauge every headline. I think for the most part, this breaking down, there's more heavy sellers. There's institutional selling that is still going on. This morning, it seems like there was call buyers out in some things. There was put buyers there too present. There's a really nice put buyer in this IBB. Might as well go to the bad first, but this was one of your worst performing sectors for the day. Biotech. I'm not really sure what's going on in this group, but it looks really ugly. IBB actually took out this virgin point of control decisively now below this. Look at all this support here. So, and again, by the way, if you're not familiar with what a virgin point of control is, why I keep calling what I say VPOC all the time, and I do explain it probably about one every 5 videos, but it's where a lot of buyers have previously been. You could see the volume profile here. And so for every time that it's unfilled, so notice this was the volume profile, this is the value area for this period, and notice the price never came and took out where that high volume, where the highest volume was for that period was. So all these other value areas are filled. And usually what happens is at some point, if the price is below, you really need to worry about the virgin point of controls once we get outside of value. So just like for this month, and you can use these for targets, right? We talked about that in IWM too. Once you get below outside of the range, then your next, where price usually likes to seek out, where there's been a lot of buyers and sellers before, and it goes right into this virgin point of control. So again, IWM, same thing. There was a virgin point of control all the way from here. So, and a lot of times there's reversions, right? Here was one back here. We took it out and we bounced. We don't have that yet. So, we'll see how this works, but I would expect a bounce here. That's basically how I use that indicator, is that usually if we don't have one right behind it, we usually do bounce. So maybe that's telling us something for tomorrow. Who knows? But yeah, everything in this space is pretty weak. And you could see XBI has it does have a VPOC down here. So again, here's one. There was one right behind it, but we took this one out and we bounced. Now we did end up going lower, but at least that provided a tradable level. Okay, so that's your worst performing groups for the day. Oil just continues to get walloped. I'll tell you, this oil, if you haven't been paying attention to it, it has been a really good intraday indicator. I mean, look at this thing. We went through all the way. I put out a tweet earlier saying, "Wow, $46." But usually, what's been happening is oil goes down first, and then for whatever reason, the market follows it. It's almost like a little bit of I don't know. Maybe somebody has a program where they're selling. Who knows? But this is not good to see oil move down like this. It complicates issues more and more, right? It's a kind of a ripple effect, because if oil goes down, energy companies are in trouble. There's a lot of bank financing that has given and the energy companies loans, so it's just kind of a bad spiral. You could see what XLE is doing here. This just continues to get hit, right? And all the financing, all the bonds that are financing this stuff, and hence you see this. Then the next thing is banks go down, right? Because they're the ones holding the paper, right? So KRE, which we also saw some put buying in, down another 1.5%. So this is getting uglier and uglier. $62 down to 47. That is taking place in this. All right, so I will get to a couple good things. So again, you have to be a little bit of objective to play some of the things that I'm going to mention. But the home builders did pretty good today. There was a nice housing report. I took some. Again, I'm not really taking big shots on anything, but I did buy some next week's calls. Unfortunately, this did not finish on the highs, so was not really able to turn the corner and get into value. That's why you take targets. I took one target in an ITB long, but we saw some call activity in both XHB and ITB. Sorry, I took XHB, not ITB, but we did see call activity in both. So we'll see where that goes, right? Bonds are up again. That means mortgage rates should be dropping. So we could look at the long bond here for a minute. We mentioned in the trading room that this got very overbought, got up to an 81 RSI. So it is burned off those overbought levels and now is taking out the highs. All right, so it kind of looks like a bull flag at this point in TLT. All right, so next area. So that was one area that showed some strength today. The semis were hot in the beginning of the day, but they gave back a lot of profits. Micron, as I mentioned, did not do that great, have that great of a quarter, but they try to get going. So I'll talk about two other areas of the market which I think are very interesting. Gold, right? We saw some call buying in gold. Somebody just told me this on Twitter as well. Yeah, absolutely, right? But if you're following the price as I am, it's nice to see the GLD call buyers. But a lot of times, I'll tell you guys, they're late. A lot of times the call buying is late. So this was something that it's been on my radar for the last week or so. I've been in ABX, which really hasn't been performing. Unfortunately, there was some story last week on ABX, and I think that's holding it back a bit. The chart still looks okay. I mean, it was still up 1.7%, but it just underperformed the group, which is frustrating to be in a gold miner, and it hasn't taken out these highs. So it is still looking like a bull flag. I did actually add just a little bit to my position today. What I played today, sorry, I don't know why this is not coming up here. Maybe Thinkorswim is Trade Alert is down for the day, but here's the orders, and here was today's option activity. But some January 2021 50 calls, a good chunk of these. And then more at the end of the day, it looks like, in GLD. So how does this relationship look? So what I played was Nugget today. I don't usually, this was a nice play. It was up 7% today. Oh, and I'm still holding a piece. I forgot to get out of that. I did this twice today. I did it once during the midday video. I mentioned that I was long. I took my profits on this first red bar. And then I went back into it once this bar engulfed this one and held on to that. But the second time, when I reinitiated the trade, I did this smaller than I did first. I bought this right on the break of the day because I watched this nugget yesterday and I didn't participate in it. But so if we look at a couple things here, if you just look at the gold ratio. For SPY. This is a 5-year chart. So, from this bottom level, gold is now outperforming in the last, couple months. If I zoom into the 1 year, you could see that this is now outperforming pretty nicely and above the 200. So where it goes, who knows? But you could stay long GLD versus short S&P. While this is above its 200-day moving average and is a trend breakout. Also, if you look at emerging markets and what they've been doing, they're also outperforming quite nicely SPY the last 2 months, right? We got over the 50, we got over the 100, price got over 100-day moving average. Again, this is EM in the numerator, SPY in the denominator, and we're making some nice headway, retracement in this relationship. 50 days almost about to cross over the 100-day here, which I think is interesting. The call activity, yeah, there was a lot of short-dated stuff. I don't know if some of it is option. It is also option expiration, monthly option expiration on Friday. So, there was a lot of Facebook weeklies calls. There was a lot of Apple weekly calls. But, and they did outperform today, the FANG stocks. I did a lot of browsing today and not buying. I looked at Google a couple times. I was looking at Google yesterday too. It got to the top of value. So thank you, valuaries, because this is not where you want to initiate a trade. If it failed on the top of value. Today, just like a little bit of a fake out, just like yesterday with Apple. Got a little bit above the value area, but could not get above yesterday's highs. Right? So if you kind of zoom out a little bit, and I'm looking at the short term for a trend change, but we don't have it yet. So you just kind of have to sit on your hands. So the reason why I wait for this, I know some people like to just buy when they think it's down to a certain level. If you're doing day trading, that's fine. But I'm looking for a swing trade, right? So for a swing trade, I don't just buy because it's down. I look to see that for confirmation that possibly the trend is changing a little bit. Like even for this, for a short-term swing, worked pretty well for Google. And then you could get out hindsight 2020 glasses on, but you could have gotten out, I guess, at the 200-day moving average. So it is not turned here. I mean, it could either do one of two things, right? At this point, it could go and it could take out these lows, or it could kind of change directions again, and that's where I would be a buyer. But I'm not going to buy it without it changing directions. I was also looking at AMD today. No trade. I sent out this setup. It's got to get above 20. So it's better. I'm telling you, it's much better to kind of review, look at the setup, find what you're waiting for, and if it doesn't trigger, don't take the trade, and just wait until it provides you the confirmation that you're looking for. And I know that's tough. It's really tough to put in all the work and have no trade. But if it's not there, this could break the 200. Let's be honest. Nobody knows. But I have nothing really to trade against. I mean, I do want to go long versus the 200-day moving average, but I want to see some confirmation that buyers are coming back into it. All right, so that is it. So today for the Fed announcement, if you're a member of Tribeca Trade Group, I do open up the room midday to kind of go over what they're saying and what they're doing. And then we'll go from there for tomorrow's Fed day. All right, guys, have a great night. See you tomorrow.